Good afternoon. Chris Lee here from the Southeastern Conference Baseball Tournament in Hoover, Alabama. I'm watching Florida and South Carolina warm up. We got two games in the books. Jay Greason is joining me now. Good afternoon, Jay Greason. How are you, sir?
I'm tremendous. Had a great day.
Good. How's my mic? I can't hear myself. So
I don't know Mike.
Okay, well, if you did, how would he sound?
He sounds in full throat.
Okay, good. That means I don't have to hold the mic in front of me, which is great. We've got Alabama has advanced with the win over Missouri. Kind of didn't do much for you, but could have worked against you if you lost it situation. And Oklahoma, which had been swept earlier in the season by Kentucky, got revenge, 5-1. Thought the Sooners really pitched it well. Kentucky, I think, is going to be in the NCAA tournament, but might be a little nervous, do some scoreboard watching, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, two fun games so far. It is clear that the pitchers down here, the conditions down here favor the pitchers. Has been a wind blowing out. The ball hasn't carried a ton. I think we've seen 2 home runs today. Will Hodo had one, and in the second game, Jason Walk had one. Oklahoma's center fielder had one early. So, yeah. It's funny how different the game is down here, and I've seen it a bunch before, but it's just so much easier to pitch in this ballpark. I saw some good arms today. I was really impressed with Jamie Hitt of Oklahoma in Game 2 when Dylan Crooks came on to close. On the Alabama side, Tyler Fay threw a really, really good game for them today. A really good game, which they needed. I think that makes Alabama a little bit tougher for the postseason. He's pitched a little bit better later. So anyway, those are some of the bigger takeaways. I can get into some other notes I had earlier, but had a good time here so far. Got here about the third inning of Missouri, Alabama, and as always, it just had a blast. And by the way, it's hot down here, Jay.
Yes, and it looks like y'all are in a little bit lower than the storm line that's moving through the state of Tennessee as we speak, that's headed towards Chattanooga. But you touched on a couple of the bigger takeaways for me. The first one, unbelievably impressed, not only with Hitt, who retired, he faced 13 batters and got 12 of them out. I mean, he had a walk. Yeah, he gave up a couple of hits, but they were able to get out of those situations. He and Barfield both really delivered meaningful 4-inning performances because if you're going to have any chance to go closer to the weekend and you've got to play on Tuesday, you cannot use any of your big guns. And these midweek guys, these spot guys, and next year if we're doing the same thing, we're really going to have to remember that in the midweek conversation because some of this was put in the incubator that is a challenging midweek game. I mean, both those guys giving you 4 strong innings because even the one run that Kentucky got off Barfield was unearned. So, and then you turn it over to a guy who's just who's lights out. I mean, we saw 2 legit closers today. Alabama handed the ball to their guy. Oklahoma, the guy came out of the bullpen, struck out 2. I think he pitched a perfect frame. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think Kentucky's done enough with some big series wins, including some big road series wins, and I think they passed the eye test. But and you, more than anyone, can really break this down. I think there are a handful of teams around the country that Kentucky now needs to cheer against.
Yeah, I had Kentucky about 6 above the bubble coming into the week. And there's some other teams in front of them, like Arizona State got swept at Oklahoma State last week. And I didn't have Oklahoma State in. I probably should have, so that's one more to be worried about. So, yeah, and most of them are, I mean, it's Virginia, Kansas State, Notre Dame, teams that are in the same category, teams that were, for the most part, maybe sub 500 or around 500 in their league and didn't have big years, but, big enough with the metrics and some big wins to be considered.
I think there are a couple of takeaways here. We've got some Oklahoma fans in the chat, and guys, I'm not going to say I undervalued your crew, but for the first to see them extended in a meaningful moment, because they had more pressure than Kentucky in my mind.
Yeah.
And deliver when you're not handing the ball to Kyson, but you do have Easton Carmichael in the middle of that lineup, and that triple late to get that extra insurance run, he smoked it. Easton Carmichael hit 2 balls today that are out of every other ballpark they play SEC baseball in other than Hoover, in my opinion, today.
Yeah. And you didn't notice Easton Carmichael a lot of the rest of the day, which is good when you're a catcher. He's a top 100 prospect for the draft. Really wanted to get eyeballs on him in person for the first time, so happy to do that. Got a question how hot it is. My watch says it's 86, and it's one of those 86-degree days where it's cloud covered and it just holds in the heat, and you don't really realize how hot it is until you realize you've had 2 of these or 3 of these, and like it doesn't seem to register, if you know what I mean. Not
you a Bud Light or a Miller Lite guy?
This is ice cold H2O, my man.
Hey, that's mighty fine H2O.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought that Barfield, our buddy Jim in Arlington, said the only game he'd thrown that he'd started was the game in Stillwater that they won against Oklahoma State. So that was his second start. Thought he looked pretty good. You know, the thing is, in this ballpark, you can make mistakes. Just don't hurt yourself. And he didn't do that. He doesn't walk a ton of guys. I thought Jamie Hitt was really good. He was 95, 96 with the fastball. And he had a couple other, 80s, low 90s pitches. I don't know if he had what his secondary pitches are, but those were working for him too. Crooks at the end got the job done in very little time. And I thought for Kentucky, the pitching depth, which was an issue in the Vanderbilt series, just kind of showed its head again here.
Question from Jim Dillingham: will Jay get Hoover red face this weekend? No. Hey, fellas. And a couple weeks ago, somebody made me laugh out loud, calling me the high blood pressure guy. And I coach travel softball, so I am in the sun. I am completely custard. I am pale everywhere else, but on my face and on my forearms, because I'm in coach's shirts and I'm out in the sun 4 days a week.
Yeah. Well, I could feel like a little sunburn sitting in the shade, just the reflection off of everything. It's crazy. Maybe it was the drive down. I don't know what it was.
The back to the field is because you crunch numbers better than anybody. My question is, did Alabama secure a host bid today? Because you're right, beating Missouri is not a line item anybody's going to put on their resume, but losing to Missouri would have certainly put them on the other side of the host conversation.
I don't think today changed anything. It could have changed something, if they'd lost. They held serve. Again, I don't know what the committee is going to think. I don't know how they're going to – like, you look at other regional projections, they are all over the place with other teams. I think everybody's seen it the way that I am, and that it's really hard to predict what the committee's going to do. You got a bunch of candidates. I think if they beat Tennessee tomorrow, I have a hard time thinking Alabama's going to get held out of the hosting. That it may not be a national seed. I think the metrics are such that they give them a chance to work their way into usually. This being the SEC this year, that's probably not going to happen. But I just keep thinking if the NCAA wants an easy out, maybe you take the winner Tennessee Bama tomorrow.
Which is exactly where I was going with this, Chris. It's not only a testament to the depth of this league, but you're now in a very real position that the 10 a.m. Eastern game between the 8 and 9 seeds will be a top 16 team in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I mean, that's the league. You're right.
And to that end, I'm real curious. You're not going to throw anybody who threw Friday or Saturday, but it would be a 6-day rest for anybody you may have used on a Thursday of last week. And with those kind of stakes about getting a home game, and of course staying in Hoover and getting that opportunity, because it's a fun environment. It's a meaningful event for these kids, and I'm real interested to see who gets the ball for Alabama and for Tennessee.
I think Alabama will reset to Riley Quick tomorrow. And I don't think Tennessee will go with Doyle because of the blister.
Yeah, which then gives you early edge Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, I would take – I know I picked Tennessee, and that still might be the right call, but knowing if it's going to be Riley Quick versus TBA, I don't know, man. I might have made the wrong pick there.
And, hey, Jim, no worries, bro. I write a newspaper column and have for 25 years. Hey, I get kidding, and I know angst and hatred. So I am completely fine with the feedback, good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah. By the way, everybody stay safe out there. I'm getting texts from my wife. They're under a tornado warning at home. We've just sent the kids to the bathroom to hunker down and wear the bike helmets. So say a prayer or two for my family as we're doing this. Yeah, the background music is not mine. And any monetization attempts on this video are going to get thwarted after this, but oh well.
Well, I'm glad you covered everybody back at the mothership with a little.
That's not the text you want to get when you're out of town, right? But we've been through this all spring.
It is. Hey, who had more? Who gained more today, Oklahoma or Alabama?
I think Alabama. I don't think Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's going to be a 2 regardless. So maybe if they'd lost, they could have been a 3. Alabama, again, I think if Alabama lost, Alabama's on the outside looking in.
Could be.
I mean, of hosting, potentially. So I think Oklahoma. I mean, I think some people might have had Oklahoma as a 3, so maybe that's not a slam dunk. I didn't see this. Kentucky got locked out of the bullpen in the 3rd inning. I missed that. That may have been when I took an ice cream break.
Ice cream and H2O, man. You know how to go out of town and really live it up.
The bluebell cooler, you can see it just behind me, that white thing over my shoulder.
All right, be careful now. Limit yourself. Put a little self-governor on, and make sure you're not double fisting cookies and cream, and then like the Neapolitan.
Ice cream might be my kryptonite, man.
And as a kid, didn't everybody just have one stripe that everybody left of the Neapolitan ice cream?
I ate it all. If it's ice cream, I'm eating it.
I'm not a ninja. You're asking about Ziegler suing for a 5th year. Wow. I know it's not baseball, but if that happens, that is a monstrous news for Rick Barnes and the Tennessee Vols.
Yeah, I've gotten a few of those texts. I'm all baseball down here, but that's crazy about Kentucky getting locked out of the bullpen. That's a pretty good fence to jump. I'm looking at it. I mean, that's a good 8 feet. It does have some of the fencing in the top, so it's a little easier to climb it, especially if you're a college kid. Which that's a good bit in the rearview mirror for both of us. But.
One other thing before we move on to the evening session, kind of preview, look ahead stuff, and I know we covered that earlier this week. Watching a good chunk of Alabama today, I think some of our concerns about, I think Justin LeBron's healthy. He had 4 really good at bats.
Had a big single. Yeah. I think Alabama's a team that's getting better as I watch them. You know, they're starting. Adams and Quick have been pretty good the second half of the season. Fay has been going from kind of a guy that opened, and you hope to get maybe 3 innings to where he's going deeper into games. Went way deeper into games today. Went 6, struck out 5 or 6. Gave up 1 run. That was a home run to Seals to right. I mean, they used Myers a little bit today, but not too much. So I would think he could pitch tomorrow in a pinch against Tennessee. I like the way it's shaping up for them a lot more than I did when we were making picks a couple of days ago.
Well, I also think, and you touched on a name that certainly needs to be in maybe a little more conversation, in not just because of the way Tyler Fay pitched, but it's clear that the Alabama coaching staff knew what was at stake and what could be lost here. Because he's not exactly your midweek 2-inning guy.
No.
I mean, he's a guy who's been in a whole lot of leverage situations. And while he may not have stayed there, he's also a guy that can give you 5, 6, 7 innings. And he gave you 6 tonight. He was on the ESPN, he was on the SEC network talking to their panel. And they even said it. This is like a travel ball tournament, and I'm now done. So it was give him the ball and treat it like not just a get through game, but we got to have game.
Yeah, and if you can build up to 3 durable starters for regionals and supers, you are in tremendous shape.
And they got to be confident with the 2 guys you mentioned, because Adams has been arguably their best pitcher, and Quick is probably, at least in this draft, their best draftable prospect.
Well, unquestionably, yeah. I mean, he's a late first rounder right now, I think. Alabama's tough to put away, man. I think people are sleeping on them a little bit.
And they've got that huge benefit of, if they can figure out a way to turn it into an 8-inning game, they got a guy at the back end they trust as much as anyone.
Yeah, top quarter of the league, closer for sure. I did check a little scoreboard around the country today. Not a lot that jumped. I mean, really, the heavy action is, probably Thursday and Friday. Miami got knocked out of the ACC tournament. That doesn't change anything, but Miami was slipping towards, in my mind, well, I had Miami as a 3. So I don't know if that helps Kentucky. Miami's probably still ahead of Kentucky, but just something to consider. They were in that same RPI range. Miami had a few more wins from playing a few more games. So, not
man,
a lot of
there's going to be somebody ticked off to see the Wildcats as a 3.
Yeah. They just put so much pressure on you defensively. They put the ball in play. They don't have elite arms. I mean, Ben Cleaver's an elite college pitcher. And Nick McKay's pitched 7 years of ball. So he's pitched a lot, and that's valuable. I liked what Novi gave him last weekend. He pitched a little bit today. I just think they're they've got a lot of arms. I think they're just lacking maybe some of the right ones in the late innings. And I think that's been the kryptonite lately.
And even as efficient as Cleaver has been, these days, if you're throwing 92, they look at you like you're Jim Cobb. I mean, you're Jamie Moyer, because everybody from LSU's up there at 96 and saying good luck.
Cleaver can flat out pitch, and I hope we get to see it in the regional.
Well, I think you almost have to. I mean, maybe he had Sunday comfort, and that's important with a pitcher. If you're a 3, I'd be tempted to give him the ball in game 1 of a region.
Yeah. By the way, reminding people, join our membership tier. I'm going to post the link below. That's $3 a month, gets you some extra stuff. Do some extra things during the tournament. We did an extra video last Sunday. So do that. Helps the channel, helps us out. Sitting here watching Florida warm up right in front of me. South Carolina down the other foul line. I'm sitting down the right field line here at the Hoover Met. Which, by the way, I think this event is so well done. Incredibly well done. I just, every time I walk into the stadium here for the first time, and you come through the concourse and you just get the glimpse of the green grass and everything, and, just the sounds of baseball, it just warms my heart. They had some cool stuff. They had the player pictures today. in the image of a 1990 Topps baseball card, which I thought was a cool touch. Just do a lot of cool little things down here in Newburgh.
Before we get to our next thing, any thoughts and comments about the official announcements late yesterday afternoon about the awards?
The league's awards?
Yeah.
Those are tough to do. You know, they're up against the deadline. I just didn't think there was a significant difference in what we did and what they did. And I wonder how much diligence was given to conference stats. Because ours leaned heavily on that. And I saw somebody had issue with me not taking Lloyd. I think he's going to be most people's player of the year. But Irish had 300 points of OPS in the league up on Lloyd. And that's a lot. I mean, that's significant.
And I completely agree with your approach and thought process in terms of, I mean, they had multiple positions with first-team guys.
Yeah.
They had 5 starting pitchers. They had 3 relief pitchers. I mean, and they did, I don't know if they announced the votes or not, but, I mean, okay. I mean, if we're going to turn them into participation trophies, then let's go. But,
Yeah.
I mean, pick a catcher, pick a third baseman. I mean, it's Ace Reese, and if you want to put Slade Alford at the DH, then fine. If you want to, I mean, he had a great year, but I'm not afraid to pick some nits about Zach Root being a first-team starting pitcher.
I just didn't think. I mean, he had a great year. But a lot of SEC pitchers had really good years. But
Absolutely.
I mean, my goodness, who were their first-team pitchers?
Liam Doyle was a dunk. Kyson Witherspoon was a dunk. Those are the ones we agreed on. They took the second-best pitcher from LSU, or at least in terms of the season he had, and took Kade Anderson, and then took Zach Root.
Yeah. I mean, so no Ianson?
No Ianson. Their relievers were Osmer from Alabama, Zach Cowan, and Valanis from Texas.
Ianson had an ERA a run and a half lighter. I think threw more innings. I think had better peripheral numbers too. So I don't get it. I mean, yeah, I mean, it did have better secondary numbers. Kept the ball in the park better, struck out more, fewer free passes. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
Well, I mean, they picked Gavin Killen from Tennessee over Rembert and Dickinson, who were your second team, who were both on the second team.
I mean,
I don't know. I mean, and I'm not entirely certain. Do the coaches vote on this?
Probably the media relations guys.
Well, yeah.
Keelan's issue was this is where his numbers in league play. Gosh, let me find it. I might not have it anymore.
In the release, they say they are voted on by the head coaches. Now,
Okay.
Steve Spurrier made that famously known in Florida that he never voted on anything other than Duke being in the preseason poll. He just handed it to his sports media people.
Keelan had in league play a 303 on base percentage. That's below average in the major leagues these days. And this is a much easier hitting environment, and he slugged 409 in league play.
And Rembert was an absolute dynamo for a team that finished 2 spots ahead and way overachieved compared to what Tennessee finished at.
Sam says Marcus Phillips for Tennessee tomorrow, followed by A.J. Russell. So that'll be a good pitching matchup, too. Won't be Doyle, but Phillips have been pretty good most of his last half dozen starts or so. We'll see. I don't know that Alabama really runs a lot. I don't think that's Alabama's style. I'll double check that. So that might be a little less problematic for Tennessee. Yeah, Alabama stole 50 bases this year, got caught 6 times. So I don't know. feels like anybody and everybody has pushed the pedal on the Vols there. Go ahead.
And well, just to recap, in case I figure a whole lot of our regulars have already seen it. Aloy was your SEC Player of the Year. Liam Doyle, Pitcher of the Year. Volantis was Freshman of the Year.
Yeah.
Ace Reese is the Newcomer of the Year. Ryan Prager is the Scholar Athlete of the Year. And Jimmy Schlossnagel is the SEC Coach of the Year.
Yeah. And again, I don't have a problem if you take Aloy or Ace Reese. We narrowed it down to 3 and we debated it. Just don't call anybody an idiot for picking one of the other guys, especially the way Irish hit the league play. I mean, and man, those were big hits for him. I'm not saying Aloy didn't have them, but I think Arkansas. I mean, Auburn had a pretty good lineup, but Arkansas's without Aloy was better. Like, I don't know where Auburn is without Ike Irish.
And I completely agree, especially if you take both those dudes out. I still think Arkansas finishes top 4 in the league.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any possible way, especially with the way he hit an SEC play. If you take Ike Irish and his production out in SEC play this year, Auburn is playing today.
Oh, for no doubt. I forgot to check the starting pitchers for the one we're about to see, so hang on just a minute. And Randy says that Weston Moss is starting for A&M tonight, which I don't think that's a bad call because they're going to have to win 5 games. And you can throw Prager or your other guys on more regular rest. And by the way, the games are going to be tougher there. You've got to go all in to win this thing, and I think that's what they did. I mean, you can't throw Ryan Prager tonight. Okay, we're getting Brandon Stone for South Carolina, who's been their number 1 starter a good bit of the last part of the season. I don't think he took the ball on Thursday night last week. And then Billy Barlow, who's kind of a Swiss Army knife for Florida, is going for the Gators.
To your point about the Aggies, and I agree with it. I mean, you've got to win this one, but you are in a position that you got to win a lot of them. So It's not just a win one and we feel good about Monday. This is get us in a position, squeak by this one, and then roll the dice with your big 3 and go. And to your point about Weston Moss, I mean, if you're Randy Moss's kid, you've got to feel pretty good about your just athletic, your IQ.
We had the anthem going. So
hey, you need to stand up and take your hat off. All right, I'll carry this thing while Chris is being the good patriot that we know him to be. For those of you out there who have seen the Players Award, if you had a real beef about it, put it in the comments. Feel free to subscribe, like, and make fun of me at every chance you get, because, hey, that's a national anthem. It's a national pastime. I don't. As for tonight, though, and I think Florida is poised to make a real big run, starting with this one, because I think as they start getting healthy, and I know Chris is in agreement with this because we talked a little bit about it yesterday. As they get healthier and healthier, the conversation truly, they are immensely deep. And the conversation we've had through the year, when you have those injuries, while they can put you in pickles and difficult situations through the year, what it does is it allows a whole lot of really good baseball players, because if you're playing at Florida and you're playing at a lot of schools, if you're on the roster, you're good. But now Florida's got a whole bunch of guys who have got game experience because of the injuries.
Well, that was awkward, but it's over now.
That's all right. We just got to see your belly button for
I know.
I'm just happy. I'm happy it's not a Thursday when you normally take your shirt off at the SEC.
I didn't think through that one very well. But anyway. Parting thoughts.
That Sam is crushing your press pass photo.
I know.
And he's hilarious.
I know. That was not my best photo, but we go with what gets us in the game.
My parting thoughts is, one, this is a wonderful event. If you haven't been, when your team is in a position to make a run, figure it out and try to get down there because it's really cool. One of the things I've seen is some of the coaches, including Tim Corbin, going into this tournament, were worried about the attendance. It was record-setting a year ago, and I know that it's not going to get there this year because they have fewer games, but they were worried about some of the fan bases in a single elimination format if they were going to travel just for one game.
Yeah. Any parting thoughts? I'm going to get out of here so I can go watch this.
I'll just answer Earl. Hey, you're 100% right. Neither of us picked Aloy for SEC Player of the Year. But if you look at the awards, with the exception of Liam Doyle, a whole lot of the big ones went to teams with the elite records, and that's the default position on how coaches vote. I mean, I could have told you, no matter how many different debates we had about Schlossnagle, he was going to win Coach of the Year because the other coaches almost always default to the guy who wins the league. So same with Aloy. He was the best player on arguably the most complete team in the league and in the country. But I don't think, if I view these awards as the most valuable, and I don't think there's a more valuable person to his program than Ike Irish.
Look, in the league, here's the numbers. Aloy hit 326, Irish hit 398. Aloy got on base 403, Irish got on 480. Aloy slugged 612, Irish slugged 852. I mean, that's 350 points of OPS. And again, if you want to say that Aloy earned the award, that's fine, because the defense and whatever, that's fine. But don't act like it's a miscarriage of justice, because that's offensively he was overwhelmingly the better player in the league.
And again, Earl, your point is completely valid. Is completely valid. Aloy, and this is Earl's stat, so I didn't look it up, but he said he only had 4 errors in 191 attempts, and he plays, with the exception of catcher, the most important defensive position on the field. And factor that in. I get it. I mean, he wasn't our vote, but I think both of us said neither one of us would be surprised if Aloy won it. And I'm not.
Yeah. All right. Florida's underway. South Carolina's got the leadoff guy on. And with that, I think I'm going to sign off. And
all right,
we'll do this again tonight. It might just be me. I don't know. We'll do something 10:30ish after this one, and as A&M is hopefully winding down.
Well, who knows? And we're going to need to put some suggestions in the box for the DJ, because as Sam called it, Mom Rock is, although you really can't do anything current from the pop calendar or the pop catalog these days, because it's almost all got some sort of really nasty reference to it.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of a lot of the catalogs. That would have been music out of place. But anyway, are we going to try
to do breakfast and baseball tomorrow morning?
We are. I think we'll do something at 8 too. I'll do a little scoreboard dive other places to see if anything affects teams in this league, and rehash all this again. And
I'll share my famous French toast recipe, which I'm going to make for the kids as we start the first day of summer up here in Signal Mountain, Tennessee.
All right. Gonna have to have that, Jay. All right. Thanks, Jay, for joining me. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I'm going to go watch the rest of this Florida-South Carolina game. We'll see you guys again tonight. God bless you. Have a good evening. Stay safe, those of you under tornado watch in Tennessee. Hope you come through it okay. We'll see you soon.